Hey guys, I'm gonna wait and see who can come in to the live chat, spontaneous live chat. So give this a moment and see who can come in. Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? Let me know that you can hear me okay. You should be able to. I have a few things that we can talk about tonight. How's everybody making out? I'm telling you, a couple of days ago. Good. That's good. Hey, Lydia. I started feeling like a little cabin fever, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I'm naturally a homebody, but, this is like taking it like above and beyond. Hey, Harrio. Aw, yeah. And, I've made videos, you guys, on this channel that talk about sexual abuse and things of sexual nature when it comes to abuse. And after this video uploads, I'll tag some of those. That's right. Lux knows. She knows. I get in where I fit in, honey. Yes. But, I felt like I could give a little more attention to this topic in particular, sexual dysfunction after narcissistic abuse or, after abuse. Because it can and typically does happen, especially for those that were abused as children, yeah, but especially in the realm of when you're experiencing this abuse in your romantic relationships, okay? Of course, this can take many different faces, for sure. So we're going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that. So, and it can look a little different in men and women, but there are some psychological similarities, of course, that it doesn't matter, if you're a man or a woman, that you can experience as far as the sexual dysfunctions go. I mean, me being a survivor, I can draw from myself, okay? I can, and then I'll also get into some of the other things as well. I know personally, after my worst experience with narcissistic abuse, I was very put off by intimacy and sexual intimacy, to be specific. I went on a pretty long, what some people would consider a pretty long hiatus from sex. I had no interest in it. So, and also me being a rape survivor and experiencing rape in that situation. So I was very put off and turned off by it. And I know like a lot of other people have experienced that. And it becomes a dysfunction because once something is very prolonged, of course, and you are operating out of fear, basically, of wanting to be vulnerable or attempt to have that connection with someone else because, you remember, the worst of that or how ugly things turned around on you the last time. So it just took me a while. It took me a while. I had to work through a lot of things at that point. And I had 2 counselors, and over the course of, I'm going to say about 20 months, so almost 2 years, before I even felt like really socializing. So when someone starts withdrawing like that, because, that's something that can happen in what I'm describing here, we're isolating ourselves from not only the sexual contact, but just probably socializing generally. I wasn't trying to fuck with folk like that. I'm telling you that right now. I was done with human beings. I was disgusted with human beings. But, this also is an indication of me not having the appropriate detachments, and that's also a problem that can manifest out of the sexual dysfunctions, attachment issues, attachment and detachment issues, you know, not isolating that negative experience or isolating that toxic experience away from, you know, the other end of the spectrum, or being able to have the healthy connection. So, yeah, I definitely experienced shutting down sexually, and that's very typical. Usually, it'll be one end of the spectrum. Either you're going to be shutting down sexually, or you're going to become promiscuous. And a lot of people in coaching that I talk to that end up being promiscuous, and this could even result after a rape, or it can result after someone has done something similar. It feels like you got a soul rape either way, whether they raped you sexually or just raped you in the way that they treated you, okay? That can still trigger that. And there was such a disregard for your body, you do, or you could become promiscuous for sure. And then at that point, either there's a numbness, right? A possible or possibility of feeling numb, or almost like a sex addict, you're just chasing a distraction or chasing that high of the orgasm, right? Because just like any other addiction, you're feeling the high while you're doing it, but as soon as you're done, you come off of that orgasm or whatever, is back to reality, right? And that's even for the people who are able to get to orgasms, because there's another sector of people who may have issues allowing themselves to go there. So, that's also something that could manifest after, our type of dysfunction after sexual abuse. And then perhaps you find someone that's loving and that is sweet and deserving of, having that intimate or going into those spaces with you. But because you haven't found that healing, are you still very triggered from, the thought or the act of, this could cause issues with you moving forward in life, And then with the promiscuity, we can talk about um, unsafe sex and risky sex, and it makes sense because if someone was abusing you, right, you're not having a lot of self-worth and a lot of self-value. So you're not going to take those extra steps, of course, to give yourself the protection that you may not have felt like you had, or you obviously didn't have when you were experiencing your abuse. So, and then it could just be this going through the motion thing, which a lot of people experience when they've been raped. They get numb and they may not even be able to tell you what that sex feels like. You might go into that space when you're sexually active with other people, you know? It's possible. Lux says something I noticed after ending the 9-year relationship with a narcissist, beginning when I was 16, ending when I was 25. I noticed that I can't orgasm on my own. It's like a separate trauma bond. Hmm. Well, I don't know, how much you've ever explored yourself, Lux. If you, obviously, it sounds like you probably tried to and you weren't able to achieve it. But I recommend you work on being able to achieve that with yourself because, that's actually going to make your sex life healthy with other people, being comfortable with your own body. and not just getting pleasure off of someone else getting pleasure from you, if you will. Gregory says, hello, engaged queen or narc sensei. As you know, narcs can cause you to feel sexually inadequate and undesirable and unwanted by the opposite sex. Like you've always say, shadow work plus therapy helps. Yeah, yeah. And also, again, this running theme of detachment. The narcissist will make you feel that way. So, being able to strip them of the authority of being able to have any type of control or power to make you feel that way. hmm And then once we're talking about men, erectile dysfunction would have to be mentioned here as well. Um, that can be psychological, although there are a lot of health issues that can be causing that as well. As far as the blood flow, testosterone, and other things that a man could do to actually make him, like masturbating a lot, I heard could cause a form of impotency or not being as turned on by a woman because of so much, masturbation. But yeah, as far as narcissistic abuse, is usually, a lot of psychological things going on with that. And as Gregory said, feeling inadequate and undesirable by the narcissist over and over, especially the longer that, a man stays in that situation. They're constantly watering a seed that they planted of, you not being good enough. So, that's definitely more incentive to, get out of those situations, because whether you know it or not, that person is programming you. Okay. Yeah. So usually, like I said, people are being either very sexually active or, being turned off or shut down or withdrawn sexually. And then when they are very sexually active, could be possibly just looking for distractions or filling voids. hmm Yeah. I know someone that I did coaching with some time ago. It was a female and she got a divorce from her ex husband. And it was years before she really felt the emotional impact of that divorce, per se, or dealt with it or faced it, if you will. What she did after being in such a lengthy relationship is she got into rebound relationships and she was sleeping with people a lot. She became very promiscuous, but it was her trying to fill a void of wanting to feel desired and a distraction, because being alone would remind her, hey, you don't have a husband anymore, you're divorced. So, looking for those distractions and trying to fill the voids and getting that synthetic, shallow, um, short term band aid, if you will, of feeling, that experience of, going out on a date or, or even being just a friend hooking up with someone. And, but then, like I said, when it's over, it's over. I think Lil Wayne, the rapper, he said it really well in one of his songs. He was like, after I come, I come to my senses. Like you get caught up in that orgasm, but then when you come off of it, you still, everything that was there before that was happening, it's still there. So it's not the best way to find a solution, you know? Gregory says the trick is to rebuild from the inside. I'm a prostate cancer survivor having erectile dysfunctions. I can say you that are probably tell me that working on the mental aspect is the key. Female narcs can emotionally cripple you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've made videos about them where even from my experience, even though I've had, a really horrible male narcissist, the female narcissist was extremely, way more vicious, way more vindictive, you guys, way more. And I won't say that, like male narcissists ain't got nothing on female ones, but boy, I don't know, female narcissists are very vicious. I'm not trying to minimize the men at all, but yeah. So, and then, of course, we can talk about anxiety and we can mention PTSD as well, you guys. So, as far as the therapy, well, before we even get into that, personality disruptions, that's something that you probably don't hear people say, that personality disruptions, but that's what's happening, after you've suffered this abuse. Your personality has been disrupted because, you're not in the same energy in the space as before you had that experience. Now there's a roadblock. Now there's, a hesitation, or there's an avoidance. So you're definitely experiencing some personality disruptions right here. And the building blocks, of course, are fear. And sometimes you could even have anger, You can have anger, or you could be passive aggressive or passive. And to me, the people that are being promiscuous are, in that group of being passive, if you will. Even though they may feel like they're taking control, you know. It is actually a loss of control and being out of balance at that point. So, and we could see this even playing out in people who were sex workers or prostitutes, you know. So, but either way, if you've been scorned or devastated and you find yourself to have a low sex drive, or um, turn into promiscuity or addiction, whether it's, becoming like sexually addicted to that orgasm, or chasing that um, distraction, like I said, or and adding other types of addictions in the mix there, because we're trying to escape our hurts and our pains. The whole thing is normal, is very normal. And the other whole thing is, you don't want to have to stay there. You want to be able to come out of that energy and out of that space, so that you can, have a healthy sex life, or, form healthy connections, or have healthy intimacy moving forward. You don't want, the abuser to still, be able to dominate your life well after your experiences. So I actually did write a book called Silent Tears. And you can get an ebook and a hard copy of it, where you can, and it's available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, or you get signed copies off of my website, lakiacrawford.com. But you can work through it, and in the privacy of your home, to address, any sexual dysfunctions or hurts and traumas that you have left over, that you haven't healed from in the process. That's something that I did a few years ago as a survivor myself. And, I had nightmares. Like, it was just a lot of psychological stuff that I had to come off of with that. So, but I did. I did. So, Gregory says, develop an appetite for the struggle the fight for yourself to break trauma plus codependency is the hardest and longest journey. Always try to stay on the wagon. The self is worth it. Right. So I like that last part the most here where you said the self is worth it, Gregory, because basically reprogramming um, how you're viewing yourself and like going back to that word detachment again, about how that person treated you versus your actual true worth, because a lot of people feel a lot of, there could be elements of shame and guilt. Um, and like you said, feeling unworthy. And then for those that become promiscuous, there could be underlining issues of fear and abandonment. And also, actually, for those that are isolating too, the fear and abandonment is there too. And that's why they're like, well, if I'm not with anyone, they can't leave me. So I automatically escape being abandoned. But if we look at the bigger picture, you're actually abandoning the opportunity to have a healthy relationship, to actually be able to get what you deserved to begin with. So you're abandoning a healthy sex life. You're abandoning possible healthy connections. So there are other things that you're abandoning. And that's why I used to say way in the beginning of my channel on those videos, I would say all the time, when we put those walls up, yeah, we're going to keep the bad people out, but we're going to keep the good ones out too. So a lot of experiences that we could be turning away from. Lux says, on the subject of personality changes, there are many narcs with them, but also victims of the narc who can develop them too. Thank you, Lakia, for mentioning this aspect. Mm-hmm. And Mabnar, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, even though you're one of my day ones, because I see your name all the time in my live chats. I hate everything about sex. Whoa. And I will live alone till the rest of my life. It feels like a blessing to me after being parasitic in a possible way since my childhood. Mm. Hold on a minute, you guys. Maria. Well, hate is a strong word. There's nothing wrong with wanting to live alone, but the hate thing, definitely screams anger right there. And then I'm wondering, are you insinuating that you have no sexual desires? You're just not interested. Mm. Well, you can go through a season of that. And some people aren't as sexually inclined as others, is true. But sometimes a low sex drive could be for other reasons as well, though, Maria. And it sounds like your interest is just based off of the negative experience you had in your childhood. So when it's something like that, then, there's it left, a severe psychological imprint in your mind about that. And you haven't found a certain kind of healing from that situation that would allow you to be able to feel peace and feel, welcoming in that area of your life. So to say you hate everything about sex is, to me, do you really mean that you hate your experience with sex so far? Is that what you really mean, Maria? Because sex is a beautiful thing. And then, this is going back to that word detachment again. in the right scope, in the right way, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's how we all got here. So sex isn't the culprit. It's just when it's predators are, misusing it and whatnot. Maria says, not only childhood, only disappointed, nothing more. Why add more traumas? That's the thing. You've already told yourself that, being intimate with the right person is just going to add more trauma. Or you've already put yourself in a box and limited yourself from the possibility of, being able to experience it. So, sometimes that tunnel vision blocks us from seeing other possibilities, because it's very possible that you could actually pick a healthy person and have a healthy relationship, a sexual relationship with them. And that's what I would want you to be claiming rather than, speaking death on that for you. How old are you, Maria? Christian says, can someone be only sexually attracted to someone they are emotionally in love with? No, no. You don't have to be emotionally in love with someone to be sexually attracted to them. It depends on what you're looking for, you know? It depends on what you're looking for. Some people do need to have that emotional attachment for them to be able to go there. And then it depends on, like I said, where you're coming from. If you're coming out of your toxicity, or if you're just looking for something shallow, you don't need all those deep connections. So no, you don't always have to be emotionally in love with them to be sexually attracted. People usually find their sexual attraction right off the rip just with their eyes, and then it can have the possibility of growing like, I like how that person looks. So right off the rip, you could feel that sexual energy or attraction without even knowing anything about them emotionally. And 33 is very young, Maria, to put yourself in that life sentence, unless you really wanted to become a nun, um, you know, rewiring your perceptions and the stories that you're telling yourself and not, limiting yourself or self-sabotaging, and just at the root of it all, finding healing from that past trauma, and then learning how to detach, learning how to compartmentalize, learning how to isolate, those experiences from future ones. And I would say, because you had all of those negative experiences, you deserve to really be able to, have positive experiences. You've had enough pain, you deserve it the most. So you have to be in it to win it. And when I say that, I certainly don't mean sleeping around, but claiming victory in your life over that, rebuking the fact that, okay, this happened, basis my whole life is going to be this way. You're way too young to be doing that. And even if you weren't young, it's just, you know, negative experiences, and you're in good company. A lot of people have had these traumas and they've been gone on to have healthy relationships. So let that be an indication of what you can do. They're not better than you. They were just willing to do the things that I just said or suggested to you. Rachel says, hey, you guys, just came out to holla from Nova Scotia, Canada. Amazing. Nice to see you, sweetie. Thanks for dropping in. Gregory says, the goal is to now let your childhood and your past, is to not, okay, let your childhood and your past define you. Being codependent means at one point you didn't exist. You have to build a new you from scratch. Don't cheat yourself. It's a big world out there. Absolutely. Billions of people. Okay. Good advice there, Gregory. Aw. Love you too, Rachel. Hope you're okay. Emmeline said, hi, Lakia. Maria says she doesn't have the energy to weed the good from the bad. It is not worth it to me. Hmm. 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 Well, what I would say to you, Maria, is maybe it's a time to focus on yourself, but do it in an active way, where you're finding healing, you know, because the energy that you're in right now, you shouldn't be weeding any goods from bad externally. Is, I think, going back to what Gregory said in the beginning, um, weeding your own good and bad first, at least increasing your self awareness about that. Okay. And being willing to strip yourself and being bare and naked, in regards to. And then this way you can really get real with yourself. Okay. Because sometimes it's not that we don't want to have something, we feel like we can't achieve it or we feel like we can't get it. So that makes us not even want to get into the race. Because, like you said, you're already counting yourself out. So if I already think I'm a lose, then why am I logic would I try, Yeah. Um, Emily says we talked on the phone before. Thanks for your help. Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. Latonia says, hey, Lakia, narcs abuse sex. They do. They do. It's a form of manipulation for them. And they know that some people, in their lack of emotional maturity, will view that sex as intimacy when it's just a physical act to them. Okay. And then they create that soul tie. And you're bonding with them because we release bonding chemicals during sex. So here you are bonding to your abuser at that point. So, but yeah, I highly recommend, people who are experiencing the sexual dysfunctions to be willing to find therapy, get some type of therapy to help you on a psychological level, and be willing to, go into those sessions and be honest with yourself. And, start working on your self love, as Gregory mentioned earlier, and give yourself everything that your abuser wasn't giving you, or if you feel like no one else is giving you, because that love definitely starts with yourself. And after you feel used and abused and victimized, and, like someone stole something very precious from you, you definitely, now is the time to put into yourself the most. Okay. Now is the time to, be giving yourself the most compassion, the most self love. Emmeline says, I've been no contact for like 2 years from my 5-year-old son's father. I'm glad because there's peace. He has a baby with the new supply. Is he gone for good? Just curious. Probably not, because you have a 5-year-old son with him, number one. He's probably not gone for good, although he might be occupied with the new supply. But because he already has the baby, that could be stressful. So he's probably looking for an outlook. But if you have those strong boundaries with him, he's gonna, if you're gray rocking him, you said you're no contact, so he's not gonna look at you. He may not look at you as a first resort for sure. Okay. Because you already laid down a law with him, and he may believe it a little bit, or at least for now. So, going for good, probably not. Going for now, that's more probable, you know. Because they'll test, they'll come back, like, they'll feel like, oh, enough time went by. And their arrogance will convince them that you may miss them, or maybe you've softened up. Because they know when you're finally angry with them, and they try to give you a moment to cool down and, before they come back. But trust and believe he has plenty of other people to keep him busy in the meanwhile. Good night, Smith. All right. Rachel says, love y'all. Sending healing and blessing to anyone who is having a hard time. Take hot baths and Epsom salt and cry and watch who is trying to get with you. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I believe in spiritual baths. Taking a spiritual bath. After you take a real shower or bath, whatever, take a spiritual one where it's symbolic to releasing their energies off of you, And I would recommend, personally, I would probably shave all my hairs. Anything that they had in contact with, I would just remove that from me. And just, with sage and, I would take that spiritual bath. Put some sea salt in that water, maybe a little bit of Florida water. Light some candles around you, white and red. The red for your own self-love and the white for purification. And, just really meditate on breaking that soul tie and getting this person out of you, out of your energy that much more. You could put some cinnamon in there, invite some sweet energy your way. Even if it's just your own, that's fine. But yeah, spiritually cleansing is great. It's a great idea. Rachel says block if you have to. Shay, yes, you can email me at CoachLakia@gmail.com. It's beneath all of my videos. Good. Good, Emily. Gregory says, as long as you're a human being, you're going to need some interactions. Being closed off from the world is unhealthy. Put the work in emotionally and spiritually, and a little of God's word doesn't hurt either. Yeah. You got to remember who you are. You can't let, you don't want to get consumed or swallowed by, those toxic experiences. And you have to remember who you are after that, because what they said or what they're showing you that your value is obviously is not the case. All right. But all too often, that's what survivors end up doing, and it blocks their road to recovery and moving forward because of it. Lux says narcs let their seeds go anywhere. They may also tell you at some point they have a pregnant or impregnating fetish. And while I don't think shame, they are using it to secure a new supply. Yeah, because we know they're not trying to really stick around and do the work and be supportive and loving and, even marry you most of the time. Yeah, they're just trying to secure a new supply. Absolutely right. And that's why you can see a guy having like 6 kids with 5 women, and he's bouncing in between all of them. It's disgusting. And it's a shame for the children who didn't ask for that. Okay. Hey, Sherry. Welcome to the live chat. Yeah. And then just doing them, make a routine of it. Like if you're going to do it like once a month, just to refresh yourself. And I like that kind of stuff too. Get you some essential oils, you know, some. They have all types of flavoring Epsom salts as well. Gregory says, fall in love with yourself. Absolutely. Upgrade yourself. Mm-hmm. And when you do, watch the type of people you start attracting. When you really love yourself, when you really respect yourself, when you're really expecting more, you're going to attract more, or you're going to attract better into your life. Okay. Just Be Real says, I just want to heal so that I can be whole again. Absolutely. And it's a process. It's a process. But it shouldn't be taking nobody 30 years, that's for sure. Okay. So if you feel like, it's been taking an extended amount of time, then, it may be time to revisit or reconsider um, your approach. Gregory says, I burn sage and make smoke signals. I love sage. I've done it about 4 times today. Okay. Sage your whole house. And if you're not changing your bed, sage over your bed. Okay. Crack the window to your room. Let all that energy out. Okay. Sherry says, for me, this is how I end up isolated every time I'm told goodbye by him. Well, all you really need is to be isolated from toxic people, or basically isolated from him at this point. Don't deprive yourself of the other stuff, because then, that can make you vulnerable when they decide to come back around and start things up again. You'll be so, you may be so deprived socially because there's an imbalance there. So be careful with that, Sherry. Rachel says it takes time. Resist the temptation of going back to check social media. Yeah. Yeah, but most survivors, they do go through that phase. And curiosity can kill the cat, especially if they're already posting pictures with that new person and you haven't found your healing, then you feel like you're missing out on something, or maybe you were the issue because they were able to move on. But trust me, there are some people out here, they could get with someone that's codependent and that's a relationship junkie just like them. So you can't look at things from a shallow level, and you can't forget what you experienced no matter what. No matter who he's with, he or she is with now, it wasn't good for you. They didn't respect you. So all of a sudden they're respectful. Mm-mm, it's an act. Aw. Hey, Bossy Bree. Rachel says the oil I found is a blend of minty scents. I like orange ginger and I like peppermint spearmint myself. And for spiritual or spirituality, I like frankincense essential oil. I put a little dapple of that behind my ears every day, probably like twice a day. But yeah, you can put some of that into your water as well. When I'm releasing energy off of the candles that I'm going to burn, I will sage, but I will wipe them down with frankincense as well. And while I'm doing it, I'm saying it, hey, I release all the energies off of this candle, and only my intentions that I'm going to be setting, will be going on them. So, Lane says, I grabbed the wrong essential oil. I can't do anything with it. I wanted something for stress and anxiety. Hmm. Where's my kit? I had like a really nice starter kit that I got off of Amazon, and the kit had like maybe 8 or 9 essential oils in it. So, but what do they say is good for stress? Lavender. Lavender, they say, is good for calming. So that's something that you can put in there. And lemon actually cleans bacteria in the air. You know, that's another way of clearing out energy, if you will. So, and you can mix different ones. And I found like another hack with the essential oils, because I would buy the little essential oil diffusers, not to digress too much. But my 3-year-old twins have a cool mist humidifier. It's gigantic, and it has like a large setting that diffuses a lot at once. So I actually put the essential oil, lavender, and lemon in there for them, or peppermint if they had a stuffy nose. And you can do that for yourself. Get a cool mist one instead of getting that tiny diffuser, and you'll fill your whole room up really quick. And it's all natural. That's the good thing about it, you know. I mean, Lysol disinfect is beautiful and everything, you know, but it's less harsh. But we're talking about more in a spiritual realm right now than trying to just kill some cold germs. Anyway, so Lux says you can't be concerned with what they are doing in their made up world through, yeah, social media. We give them the energy it's taken from our own souls. Absolutely. And that's why we have to have that shield that I always talk about. Rachel says helps the immune system and breathing more open. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I love orange ginger. I'm starting to like realize it because my favorite lotion from Bath and Body is the aromatherapy orange ginger. And then I realized the body creams that I was using has orange in it as well. I really like this one. And no, that one doesn't, the passion one, but that one smells really good. Yeah, and just, you know, you could always alkaline yourself. Just make your healing like a all the way around thing. Like, you see this gigantic thing of lemon water I have, you guys? I used to have issues with bloating and stuff, but I don't when I drink lemon water. It's amazing. So, and you can also put like a pinch of pink Himalayan salt in that too, and make your water really super. You know, a glass of wine is fine, okay? But yeah, I use like and I'm at my desk right now, right here. I use like a little refined, put like a pinch of that in my water. This is the best. This is the best salt that you can use if you're going to eat salt, even for cooking purposes. You don't have to use this brand, but you know, pink Himalayan salt. This is finely graded, so it's good for cooking and all of that good stuff. Um, it has like all the minerals that hydrates the cells inside of your body. Okay. And that's, isn't that nice? You know, after a trauma, do something nice for the cells inside of your body. So, and yeah, I sage and I use uh my thoughts are just like right now. Um Palo Santo. Yeah. I have like that too, you guys. So, this is my little kit for that. And the Palo Santo stick, which is getting really small, but I have like a whole box of them because they burn so slow. So the sage, you guys, will clear out all the energy. The sage clears out all the energy, good and bad. But the Palo Santo wood puts sweet energy into the air. So, you know, that's something you can burn after you've cleared out all of the energy. So you could do it when people leave your house, the guests, like take all their little energies with them. So, but yeah, I'm a big believer in saging. It's very relaxing. And if you have a weed problem, you know, maybe saging could be a nice um, crossover to minimizing. I tell people that in coaching session that have issues with weed and they feel like, oh, Lakia, I think I do it too much. Da, da, da. I tell them about saging, and that actually helps them actually start weaning themselves down. So, all right, now that we've digressed it here. Latoya says, love saging myself, so soothing. Yeah, yeah. And that's great. You can sage yourself, you know. I sage myself literally every morning when I'm getting up and I'm thanking God for waking me up. And when you're doing that, you're getting rid of, you know, negative energies around you. And that's what you want. Now, someone made a donation. Did I get to it? Oh, it was Rachel. Wait, more than one person did? Thank you, Rachel, for your $13.99 donation. But I think someone else did too, because I see a different number up here. Let me see something. Oh. All right. Well, let me go back to the thread. Maybe I'm like way behind in the chat and it's further down. Okay, we were right here. AJS says, and they always come back around. But it doesn't matter how many times they come back around if you have your strong boundaries. Lux says 4.5 months could be the tip of the iceberg of your healing, sir. Just hang in there, be strong, and hand it to God. He will take your burden when you aren't looking. Oh, he'll take it while you're looking. Just give it to him and feel that weight come off of you. But Lux, I'm going to tell you, sometimes it can be more than 4 months. I know, like, I needed a year of intense therapy and really focusing on myself. So don't feel bad if it takes you a little bit longer or you're thinking it's moving slow. The typical survivor needs 1 year. I'm finding that to be true. So it's not an overnight thing, but the good thing is you make progressions along the way. All right, I'm not saying you're going to spend a whole year miserable. Absolutely not. But you'll be able to see, hey, I went from not getting out of bed for days to just having my moments every now and then. I used to cry about this every day, and now, I think about it once a month. Oh, now I only think about it every couple of months. You'll begin to see your progression, and that means that you're getting further in the healing process. So don't discredit or don't think that you haven't healed because you still have feelings behind it. You're always going to have some feelings. You are human. But what are those feelings? What type of effects do those feelings have over your life? And is it crippling you from being able to stay focused on your career, for instance, or is it, taking your drive to want to make new connections and, is it controlling and renting space in that type of way? So, yes, yeah. Emmeline says, I never befriended the ex-narc on Facebook. Good, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Clarissa says, how to show the rebound relationship you're done with the narc. Well, sometimes maybe you're not devastated and maybe you are really ready to just cut your losses and move on. Just let your actions speak louder than words, Clarissa. You shouldn't be talking about that relationship. You shouldn't be trying to vent with that person and stop calling them a rebound. Never call them a rebound to their. I'm glad you told me. I hope you're not, never call them a rebound. They're not a rebound. It's not a rebound when you're really over it. And sometimes it really can be a quick turnover. Sometimes it can, because maybe it wasn't your first rodeo. And maybe this time when you experienced the abuse, you didn't attach to it and take it personally. And you were able to just let that person go and keep it moving. So when it's like that, it's not a rebound. You actually really are pretty much ready to just keep it moving right along. So, don't call them a rebound and let your actions, speak louder. Don't be bringing up your ex. Don't, just stay present in the moment and enjoy what you're building and developing with them. So they shouldn't be asking you to show you that it's over, you know, and you shouldn't be telling them all the details of your relationship either. It's none of their business. They don't need to know everything. Okay? So have some boundaries and, so that they're not wondering, like, well, if she went through all of that or if they went through all of that, Are they really ready for me? Like, don't plant those type of seeds in a person's head to begin with. You know, people are very impressionable when they don't know you that well just yet. So you're going to have to use your emotional maturity and have boundaries around what they should and shouldn't be knowing ever, even. So just make it about them and, keep your head looking forward. Bossy Bree says, "Do you ever have anxiety with being a content creator? Because I do sometimes." Um, no, I don't have anxiety. And if you're having anxiety, well, you know what? Let me keep it real with you, Bossy Bree. I would say that I have had scenarios as a content creator which have been stressful for me, but usually that's been like people attacking me and smearing me. So I have experienced those situations and people like making videos about me. So when you put yourself on a public platform, you subject yourself to criticisms and, the public, and anybody can make a video and say anything about you or post. So I've had situations where um, I didn't appreciate, someone that was talking smack and trying to smear me. But as far as a content creator, as my specific platform, no, nope, nope. I just feel like I do what I do, and the right people will appreciate it. It's not for everyone. I'm not trying to be a one size, fit all. So I feel like you leave room for yourself to be what, keep your eyes on what you're doing and not attached to the other foolishness. And sometimes that can be easier said than done, but yeah. Yeah. So everything comes with its pressure cooker moments, if you will. Like, nothing is just a straight line in life. Everything has its ups and downs. So, just know what you're signing up for, keep your perspective, and then just keep your eyes focused on, what your goals are, and understand that it's possible that someone could just say a whole bunch of lies about you, anything of that nature. But yeah, as long as you prepared for it and you're going in with your eyes wide open, basically. Sherry says, "Don't you have to dilute essential oils when you apply them to your skin?" No, you don't. And some people even put them in their hair. I do. I have in the past. I had this Moroccan rose that I absolutely love, and I still have the sugar scrub, but yeah, you don't have to. But yeah, some people's skins can be more sensitive than others, so I'll correct myself there. Put a little bit on yourself and see how that feels, and make sure whoever you're buying it from is, not selling you some crap too. Okay. Sherry says, "Do you have to do your research? You have to do your research and need a chaser oil. I use olive oil and coconut oil. Yeah, and I got a humongous coconut oil from BJ's. I think it would last me a lifetime. I'm like, who's gonna use? It's like this big. I'm like, who's gonna use all of that? Because a little goes a long way. And I put it in my hair too when I'm like doing the afro thing. Yes, tea tree oil is good as well. It is. That is good for stress. Aw. Well, I've made a lot of videos, Rachel, on being an empath and some of the pitfalls of not being able to balance being an empath. So you're definitely welcome to check out those videos. Bossy Bree says, "Yes, I've been drinking a lot of water." Good, good. Gregory says, got to do a study for finals. God bless the narcs since they keep teaching us that Wing Chun for narcs. Aw, well, have a good evening and good luck on your exam. Sherry says, I hadn't heard of tea tree oil for empathy. Because it has that mint, that pepper, that peppermint or spearmint smell to it, which is good for de-stressing. I'm doing well, Melanie. What are your questions? Rachel says you helped me healing listening to this video also. Aw. Well, thank you again for your donation. Melanie says, how do I stop the nightmares of my ex coming back in my house or find me and my kids after we move to another house? So those nightmares in your subconscious is coming from a literal fear that you probably have, Melanie. So chances are when you work your way through that, the actual fear that you have, then the nightmares will stop, because the dreams are subconscious. But I've made a few videos on this channel that deals with dreams. So it would be good to keep a dream journal. I recommend it just generally speaking to survivors, but get yourself a dream journal for now and find yourself a really good dream dictionary. I like dreammoods.com, dream moods, MOODS. I used that for years to look up symbolisms. But yeah, if you deal with the real fear, because chances are that's your real fear, then you will find that, those type of dreams are going to, start to be lesser and lesser and then go away. Yeah. Sherry says, I love Himalayan salt lamps in the room to clear negative energy, and the pink light reminds me of love. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have fun. I have party lights and all types of stuff, and that's just like on a whole nother energy, you know. But yeah, make your home your haven, beautify it, redecorate, lighten it up, let light in during the day for sure. Tamara says, I have 6 kids. Me too. She has 6 kids by her ex-narc husband, though. He don't fool with none of them. Well, you don't want him to fool with them. And studies, and if you mean by that he's absent, he's doing them a favor. And I know that sounds unfortunate, but, they can get a positive male role model. It doesn't have to come from a toxic father who will just traumatize them and probably give them complexes they'll have to work on in their adulthood to become healthy again. So, when they leave, they do you a favor. Melanie says, my youngest daughter have been having a rough time since I had her dad removed from the house. He was real bad and I didn't want him back, but he forced his way back last year. Your youngest daughter has been having a rough time since her dad moved from the house. Yeah, some kids take it really rough. So, I know that we're going through the C thing right now in this pandemic, but there are therapists who are doing phone sessions as well. But even if you don't get her into therapy, just let her know detaching him not being in the house, not having to do with her, and knowing that she's still loved and protected. I don't know how old your daughter is, but you're saying he forced his way back last year after he was already removed from the home. So, I have a lot of information to give you more advice as far as how he was able to force himself back. Yeah. Daddy Lim from Jamaica District said that they're suffering from child abuse. Well, it's time to, face it, so that you can find your healing. And, with child abuse, a lot of that is going to be centered around, you hear that word, your inner child, and telling that person, hey, I acknowledge what you went through, because you're talking about yourself. You're talking about yourself at this point. I acknowledge what you've been through, and I'm sad, that you had to experience that. But I'm here for you now. I acknowledge you now. I'm going to embrace you, and we're in this together. And I'm going to protect you moving forward. This is safe. This is a safe space for you. And just allow yourself. I told the other survivor to get the dream journal, get a regular journal, and start writing your feelings down. Start meditating and see what's coming up out of you from those experiences. And that, will give you an indication of what you may need to be addressing. And most of us have some inner child work, because guess what? Parents aren't perfect, even the ones with the best intentions. So you're in good company with that. All of us have something on some level, you know, because raising kids don't come with a rule book. And then if your parents are already broken, or if there's a generational brokenness that's being passed down, and addictions, and, not knowing how to be healthy, not knowing how to have boundaries, or they picking toxic people that come in and end up hurting you. So we all have something, but it's definitely not a life sentence, basically. Rachel says, Father, protect all in the chat, send them guidance and peace, cover them with protection, and angel protecting them from the creator. Or you mean protecting them with the creator? Sherry says, I love the idea of putting essential oils in your hair. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. And I used to do it. I keep my hair braided up a lot now. So doesn't mean that you can't do it while you're plaiting it up too. And a great way to do that too, Sherry, is to sprinkle it on your paddle brush. I have like a really nice deluxe paddle brush that I like to use for detangling and massaging my scalp and my hair when I'm doing that. That's a great way to like get a nice even mixture, because it comes out so small. Then you're not doing all that. Put it on the brush and let the brush put it in the strands for you, and then it's probably going to feel the strands a little better too. So that's how I do it anyway. But if you're in a rush, feel free to put that in there. Gail says, it's been almost 3 years for me not being with my narc. I'm still single, but lately I've been seeing him, but I refuse to speak. He looked at me like she's over me, so I know he's coming for me. Okay, I think you meant him. So you've begun bumping into the narcissist, which may not be a coincidence. They may be, working their way up to, break that ice to actually be bold enough to speak to you again, Gail. And that's when you have to, shut it down. You can already actually shut it down before they try to work their way up to that, because then you're actually giving them the signals of you're wasting your time. Don't even try to work your way up to, stalk me and put yourself in my proximity. You're wasting your time. Yeah. Yeah. It was triggering for you, gal. You know, all those memories just start flashing back. But, you know, I don't want you to look at him as the big bad monster. I know I've made videos about that, taking them off of the throne. And this is a different kind of throne where we make them like Satan himself when they're just a weak vessel, honestly, and a coward. So we need to, you know, not make them the boogie monster per se that you need to be afraid of. They'd be afraid of approaching you now that you're educated and now that you're in your strength, because they're the ones that are going to end up hurt at that point. Sherry says, I see a therapist that has sessions over a social app, just like Zoom, but safe and for confidentiality reasons. There you go. Gail says, with time, it will simmer down and eventually stop. Trust the process and the time to healing. And make sure that you're actively, you know, working on things that, you know, is helping you find the healing. Because as long as you stay in the same place, no matter how much time goes by, you're still going to be feeling that way. Okay. So, you guys, another topic that I wanted to talk about in this live chat is your best interest. It's just a blank paper. I put your best interest on it because all too often we don't think about our best interests. So in life, if you start moving out of your best interest, you know, that's going to be important. But being empathic, being codependent, that's something that you have to actually learn to do. And a lot of times you might feel foreign for you to start doing that. But if you just stop and think before you act, stop and think before you talk, stop and think before you agree to something, this is how you're going to be able to do it. And then don't be afraid. Don't be afraid because the codependency will say, what if they don't like me anymore? What if they're not my friend anymore? What if they break up with me? And all this other stuff. But that's not thinking of your best interest. You're still thinking of their best interest. Okay. So we have to start getting into the space of thinking of our best interests. There you go. Just be real said, oh, well, exactly. That's how it has to be. That's how it has to be at that point. And forevermore. Um, And Gail says, I feel really good now. And now he knows it. Yeah. And that's exactly when that energy wants to come and knock you right back. Because guess what? That energy is working for a greater power and it wants to keep you stuck. It doesn't want to see you graduate and stay. They want to knock you right back in like crabs in a barrel. So that's it's like clockwork. Do you really want it? It's a test too. Are you really healed? Are you really walking in your self love? You're going to get tested on that. You can pass that test. I finally, let me see, is this another one? Okay. Sherry says, I don't know what spiritual videos you hold, so take what you want and leave the rest. I heard spiritually to protect our dream space by prayers or another method because of astral travel. Yeah, you can pray before you go to bed and manifest on positive things before you go to bed. And if you want to take it a step further, YouTube has a lot of subconscious therapy available where you could actually listen to um, and be programming your subconscious while you're sleeping. So you'd be listening to these videos that are whispering helpful things and positive things, and you know, keeping in with the sexual dysfunction, I'm sure they have something on that, abuse and regenerating yourself and revitalizing yourself or finding more self-love, all types of things. You can listen to these videos while you're sleeping. Usually there's soft meditative music in the background and, probably water sounds and all of that stuff. And that's another additional step that you might want to consider. And, these videos can be for manifesting anything. And it just helps with keeping your attention where you want it to be and not on where you don't want to be, you know? And that's important. Daddy Lim Jamaica says, thank you, friend. I'm trying to recover day by day. I was overweight and very depressed, and I developed antisocial. Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about that in the beginning of the video, how it's very easy to just go into what I would call like a hermit mode, if you will, where you just don't want to be bothered with anyone. You're not really answering your phone. You're not trying to meet new people. You don't even want to talk to people you already know. You just kind of like distancing yourself from people because of the betrayals, you know, and really on a bigger picture scheme, there's an issue with not being able to, how would I put it? Not knowing if you could handle someone else, not being who they said they were going to be or being the next to betray you. See, when we change our expectations and we don't put things past people and we see angles ahead of time, we're able to avoid being blindsided and devastated. Just Be Real says, I stay in the house. Yeah, we all staying in the house right now. We got to. Everything is closed down, okay? But yeah, we have to start thinking of our best interests, you guys, all right? We have to think of our best interests. Just think about it. Is this in my best interest? Because what is survivors used to doing? They're used to making unfair trade-offs just to have, this relationship, just to have this person in their life or, you know, getting this feeling of feeling loved or whatever, that the survivor is seeking at the time. They're making an unfair trade-off to get that. Okay. And it's costing them too much in the long run and in the moment. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, you guys, and it's something that I talk about on this channel a lot, and I'm going to end with this topic, chances are, and that's manipulation. Okay. I want us to broaden our perceptions of manipulation. How about that? Manipulation isn't all bad, actually. I do talk about it a lot in a negative sense here on the channel as far as how the narcissist chooses to use manipulation. Okay. But manipulation is actually a good thing. What do you think you're actually doing in the healing process? You're going in and you're manipulating yourself, actually. You are reprogramming yourself to see and feel and believe, you know, differently than what the narcissist was trying, the energy that the narcissist was trying to get you to stand. So, manipulation, you guys, is actually not all bad. You know, it is not all bad. I mean, as parents, we manipulate our children all the time. We have to use psychology on them, especially when they're little toddlers and they don't know any better. So, manipulation is not all bad, you guys. So, I want you guys to embrace actually being able to manipulate. That means you have control over something. You can manipulate it. All right. You need to manipulate yourself. Learn how to manipulate yourself. Oh, thank you, Rachel. Melanie says, I'm going to do that tomorrow and have my kids do it with me and make it fun. Okay. Melanie also put music loud and bang pots and pans and spoons and breaks up vibes and gets you moving. Yeah. Yeah. I have like a really humongous Bluetooth. We love music around here. Yeah. So, Yvette says, just want to say hi, Lakia. Thanks for all you say and all you do to help us. Keep up the awesome work. Aw. Oh, Just Be Real says, explain more. What, on the manipulation? I'm assuming you're probably talking about the manipulation. I'm just, on this channel, we're just always talking about angles. And I don't want to make everything, manipulation is not black and white, is what I'm trying to say. And while the narcissist uses manipulation in a negative light, what I'm trying to say is it could actually be something that you can use positively. Manipulation, just we manipulate things all the time, and we may not be consciously aware of it, but we're subconsciously manipulating things. Just think about it. I'm going to give you a prime example. If I am going no contact, I can manipulate things. I could say, okay, and through me manipulating things, I am setting up variables. I'm trying to take control of what I can to increase the probability of me getting the outcome that I want. I might manipulate the people that I'm talking to. When I say manipulate, it doesn't mean I'm manipulating them. I'm manipulating who I choose to. Like, I'm being selective. I'm manipulating. I might change. Manipulation is just changing things, basically. It's taking control of what you can. Mm-hmm. It's taking control of what you can. It's taking control of what you can in your external environment and in your internal environment. And another way of looking at manipulating is forming something, is putting a shape to something. Hold on a second, you guys. So I just went on Google, you guys, just to pull up their definition of manipulation, just to bring this home for Just Be Real. It's control or influence a person or a situation. All right. It's to handle or control, typically in a skillful manner. To maneuver, and just what I just said about the manipulation, listening to that subconscious music, that's manipulating your subconscious right then and there. But it's feeding it with what you want to feed it with. It's like, I want to listen to I'm beautiful. I want to listen to self-esteem subconscious videos. So all through the night, through my earbuds, it's telling me I'm beautiful. I'm worthy. Um, all of these positive and uplifting affirmations is manipulating my subconscious at that point. So we can intercept our toxic sides. We can intercept and that's just a form of therapy right there, but it is a manipulation. If I keep repeating that to myself, I'm reprogramming myself, but it could be also a form of manipulation. doing candle work, like lighting those candles, a form of manipulation. I'm putting that energy into getting things the way that I want it to be. It doesn't have to be a negative thing, and it doesn't have to be for exploiting as well. It doesn't have to be a form of negative exploitation, is what I'm saying. That's what the narcissist uses it for. But just think about it on the opposite end. Did we manipulate ourselves to actually stay in the toxic relationships? If we take it to the other end of the spectrum, and that's a part of the delusions and illusions and denials. So the narcissist was manipulating us, and we were manipulating ourselves to our detriment at a certain point as well, though, on the other end of the spectrum. So we can look at it as that way too. What were you telling yourself when your gut was saying, I don't know if I should be here? Then you tell yourself, no, this is the best you can get. Well, you've been doing it for this long. Where are you going to go from here? You were manipulating yourself away from your own discernment, away from your own voice that was trying to actually pull you out of that situation. So, manipulation takes all types of forms, you guys. All I'm trying to say right now is it doesn't have to be a negative thing. If we are going to diet and want to lose weight, I'm manipulating. I'm not going past that fast food. I'm going to manipulate my route home. I'm going to go this way instead. Or, I'm going to have only these things in my pantry. Yeah, these are manipulations. Okay, I'm going to wear this waist trainer to manipulate my waist. I want it to be more of an hourglass. So I'm going to start training it for that. So manipulation happens all day long, okay? All day long. Like there's manipulation all around us all the time. And it invokes feelings in us. So why not manipulate our atmospheres and to invoke what we want rather than what we don't want? I might manipulate things to the point where I'm screening my phone calls. Okay, well, I'm not taking that call because that person brings a kind of energy that I don't want around me. So it can go on a lot of levels, you guys. So, yeah, we do. We do. And we'll manipulate ourselves in whatever direction we feel more strongly towards. So if you feel more victimized, then you feel more free or healed, then you'll find yourself leaning more towards, you know, having a victim mentality, if you will. So manipulation can be a good thing. And sometimes, when we're reprogramming, that's exactly what our brain needs to be able to really make that be successful. All right. And that's why I say repeating things, rewatching things, you know, rebuking things, just watering seeds, and being intentional. I say that all the time, you guys. Be intentional. When someone is made it to the finish line, when they set a goal and they started from 0 and they made it to 100, they were intentional. They were taking steps. It wasn't by chance. They were putting actions behind it. They were putting energy behind it. They were putting thoughts behind it. They were manipulating what they could along the way to, get their desires. So it's not by chance that a survivor goes from feeling completely broken and disgruntled and depressed and triggered to actually smiling, to being remarried again, or to just being thriving and happy and balanced in life. That's not a coincidence. It wasn't just them sitting and waiting for time to pass. They were being proactive. They were manipulating whatever they could. They were getting actively doing whatever they could to get where they could, you know? So manipulation is not a bad thing. It's just some people use it in that way. Some people use it in that way, but you could use it for your good. So find ways to use it for your good. All right, you guys, I have to go to bed because I do have to get up in the morning. But I've been on a really late schedule since I've been working 100% from home, pretty much. So, yeah, I've been getting to bed like 12 midnight every night. Just Be Real says, I just need to focus and do the work and heal. Can't stay here too long. There you go. All right. And then, I said this to someone else as well. You can compartmentalize things. And what do I mean by that? When it's time to deal with my inner child, it's time to deal with my inner child. And when it's time to do other things, it's time to do that. I get to decide, I get to control what I'm going to deal with in any given moment. See, that's the thing when you're empathic, your emotions control you when you can actually control them. And then when you're able to compartmentalize and say, okay, there's a time and a place for this and that, then it's not renting space in my head all day. And I can actually go to work and say, okay, yeah, I do have some more work to do in that area of my life, on my inner child or this trauma that I experienced. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and focus on my work. And later on today, I'm going to resume working on these aspects and, you know, healing that or this and that. And you're able to have that type of control over yourself. That's going to be what you want to do. That's where you want to be. Okay, you guys? So then all of that, I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't function, all of that's gone because there's a time and a place. It's not like I'm not acknowledging it. It's not like I'm not working on it. It's just right now it's time for me to work on that. All right, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's live chat. YouTube will be uploading it if you weren't here from the beginning. Yeah, that's a great tool. And it comes easier for some than others. Some people had to work harder on it. But it's just all in how it's all in what you're telling yourself. Like I said, the main thing about compartmentalizing and saying a time and a place, you are acknowledging it. You are allowing yourself to feel. It's not like you're trying to push it down. It's just saying, you know what, I'm going to deal with this after work today. I'm going to deal with this on Tuesday when I talk to my therapist, or I'm going to deal with this tonight when I'm writing in my journal. You're giving yourself that acknowledgement. You're allowing yourself to still feel, and you're allowing it to still come up. And then you're going to fully address it when you want to address it. Is when you're bottling it down, when you start having panic attacks and anxiety attacks. And I've made videos on those if you suffer from them. Whew, I used to have them, but it's been years for me since I've had them. But once I did my work, I stopped having those. So, it's all psychological and connected. All right, you guys. So, yeah, it's being able to acknowledge it that helps you be able to move forward, and having that gentleness and compassion for yourself, and not expecting yourself to not have feelings. Like, you're always going to feel something behind it, but it shouldn't be devastating your life, like I said earlier, or keeping you from, your purpose. That's what you don't want. A lot of times people have been in situations where they had that trauma, and then all the other areas of their life start to suffer too. And now not only do they have the trauma to heal from, but now they're trying to clean up the mess of everything else that fell apart because they just, they got swallowed by it. And that's what we don't want. Okay? You have enough to deal with just that, really. Absolutely. You have to. You really have to. Because, if you live life, you're guaranteed to have a certain amount of stress. But, I talk to people in coaching session about their stress management, because that's why they say don't pray to God to have a life without needing stress, because that's not going to happen. But you can pray to God to give you the tools, to give you the strength to know how to deal with it in a healthy manner. That's what you really want. That's what you really want. Because there's no way that you're going to get elevated in life. And that's why they say new level, new devil. Once you learn how to overcome this, trust me, there'll be something else for you to learn how to overcome. But you put all these tools in your tool bag, and suddenly, it's like that iron shield that I said. And then you're ready to be elevated to the highest level. You keep taking those steps, and that's increasing your emotional maturity, you guys. All right. All right. Well, it was absolutely great to come on here and speak with you guys. Live chats make it easy for me. I will be, uploading videos here and there. Thank you guys for all your patience. Make sure you always hit that like button to show your support for the channel. It helps other people. It puts energy behind it so that other people who didn't know about the channel can learn. I do have a support group, you guys, on Facebook for survivors of narcissistic abuse, a private one and a public one. All right, I still offer coaching as well. For those of you who are interested in that, you can go to my website, lakiacrawford.com. That's right. That's right, Latanya. And Funky Friday says, hi, Lakia, I'm late. Will you put the video on YouTube? Absolutely. As soon as this ends, it's going to automatically generate and kick over to an upload. So it might take a few minutes, check back in like 5 minutes. It'll be up. All right, you guys, I hope that you are staying safe during these trying times, and staying up to speed with things. All right. I made a video about this already, so you can go back where I addressed the pandemic on some level. So that may have been like a couple of weeks ago. So feel free to check that video out. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be living your life in fear. Okay? Because there's another form of manipulation there through the media that can be planting a lot of seeds of fear in the world. Okay? Get to the facts, and just definitely stay safe. All right? Stay in gratitude. All right? And then for anyone who has feel like they've lost a lot at this time, know that when things go out, other things come in. All right. So whatever you may have lost, one door closes, another door opens. All right. All right. And definitely stay prayerful, you guys. So what do I say at the end of all my videos? Oh, that was so gross. I drank all that lemon water and I had to burp. Never give up on yourself. Continue to do the work, you guys. And until next time, take care.